Welcome to Nagrand Arena. As you can see on Team Scouts Honor, they are playing that Holy Paladin God comp. Now, that being said, Wheel of Fountain, we've seen Wheel of Fountain go up against Holy Paladin God comps in the past. But I don't know. Maybe Scouts Honor has something special in store for us here in the very first game of this best of 5 series. But here we go. Only 9 seconds until these gates open, going up against Wheel of Fountain, Mageddon, Asper, and Floria running Mage, Boomkin, Holy Paladin. Here we go, everybody.
These Holy Paladin God comp setups on the Asper are going to be really deadly if he's not prepared for it. They did not face a God comp in the last tournament, so it might be quite some time since they fought one. Asper knows that he's going to be the target. He's hanging really far back, just waiting for the opposing God comp to push in first. And Semiam's got full icicles built up. He's going to get cloned up, though, by Asper. Versace caught into the deep freeze, looking to land the polymorph. He trinkets the silence into a fear. Good peels coming out from Merkmines to stop the poly, but it lands nonetheless. But Asper's in trouble. He's going to Barkskin immediately down to 60% with that full poly onto Floria. Denounce is flying in from Versace. He's in so much trouble. Saved by the light procs. He's going to Shadow Meld, trying to escape death here. Denounce is still flying in. GCD Floria has to trinket a deep freeze and get that big heal out to top him off. But now Celestial Alignment has been popped, and Merkmines is in trouble.
Yeah, that comes the root beam onto Merkmines right away. They're trying to get out as much damage as possible. That is the Aura Master coming out from Versace, though, to stop that root beam interrupt. Merkmine has a sack now. It looks like he's going to be completely fine at the moment, and really Asper not able to get too much done at all with his Celestial Alignment. Meanwhile, Floria getting feared up. They're trying to push in onto Asper. He's just hiding behind the pillar. In this matchup, whenever we see Floria CC'd, we're going to see Asper doing the dip. He's going to use that mobility to escape as far as possible, as we see him displacing across the map, safely getting behind the pillar, trying to heal himself up. And that's really what he needs to do in order to survive. He can't just sit out in the open and tank damage. He has to be able to survive on his own.
Yeah, definitely. He's going for some Cyclones here defensively. The full deep freeze. The polymorph is going to land. They're rolling the damage in onto Merkmines. They hodge him up on the Master Spell. Star Surgers and Starfires coming in. It might be his Dispersion dipping lower and lower. Versace choosing a bubble. Pops the Avenging Wrath. Tops him off very quickly. Asper realizing that the kill is lost. Cloning him up. Dotting up Sam-I-Am. Pulling back a little bit here. Going to be building up those Star Surge procs for the next assault.
Yeah, every time we see the mages have their deep freeze up, we're going to look for them to push in on the opposing paladin and try to get that deep sheep. That's going to be a key part of the CC coming in so they can actually land a kill. Floria getting full sheeped up, Asper using his Barskin. It's actually going to fade. He gets Hodge up. He decides to trinket and throw out the beam to CC up Versace. They're trying to get offensive and turn around this pressure on a Merkmine. A lot of damage coming in. The DR Hodge out of the bash, so there's going to be Merkmine's dispersed. Versace does have his trinket available if he needs it, but he's not going to have to use it for the moment. Beautiful clone coming out of Asper to deny the heals onto Merkmines. Down to 27% HP. Versace needs to get some healing out. The sack comes in, preventing some of that incoming damage. Versace getting DR clone, though. Merkmines is in a lot of trouble just behind the pillar, doing anything he can to survive, but that's a full sheep onto Versace. That's going to be Merkmines' life almost certainly, and Wheel of Fountain taking the first game 1-0.
That was a pretty intense game, though. Scouts Honor definitely showing that they can put on that pressure, absolutely. But that very first game is going to go to We Love Fountain. Now, this is a best of 5, everybody. So it's a team that reaches 3 wins in a row that's going to advance. Oh, wow. What did you guys think about that composition coming out from this team? Do you think that they're going to run that Holy Paladin God comp again? Or what do you think?
I think it's a good.
I think so. I think it's a pretty good matchup. Yeah.
Like you saw how much pressure they got in the beginning of the game. Like Asper was scared for his life and was running for a point, but I feel like he was just getting way too many Cyclones off towards the end of the game. It really needed to be stopped.
Yeah. It's just hard though. Like, what's Sam-I-Am to do? I mean, he has to save his polymorph to stop the deep sheeps. Yeah, he has to either stop the deep sheeps or he has to stop the Cyclones, and that's what makes it so difficult. Because they have both. If you stop the sheep, then he gets the free clone. If you stop the clone, he gets the free deep sheep. So you kind of have to choose, and both aren't really the greatest options.
Yeah. It's a rough spot to be in. It really is. Though, man, Asper got some really dangerously low there a couple times that game. But here we go. The next map has been chosen, though. I think it might be glitched out as one of the teams weren't necessarily ready for the queue. So it's just going to take a few minutes, guys, before we jump back into game number 2. But the map chosen by these teams, when I say these teams, I mean Scouts Honor, is actually Ruins of Lordaeron. Now, we've talked about Ruins of
Oh, wow.
Orderon in the past, saying that it's like a very small map. It could be a double-edged sword, absolutely, you know. But is that going to give this Holy Pally God Comp an advantage? Maybe force this Mage Boomkin Holy Pally team to be out in the open?
I hope you'll find something.
I think it's just going to be easier for Merkmans to get Fears on Floria. Basically,
Oh.
it's going to be much easier for him to push in and actually land those Spheres.
And Azur only survives because he can get to a pillar in line of sight. So
Yeah,
you remove
that's
that
true, too.
pillar, and he's exposed. Like he stays alive that long because he's able to get from one side of the map to the other and kind of leave the other people in the dust and heal
Yeah.
himself. But there's nothing to run to. So
But yeah, that's like we saw last game, exactly what Super T's is saying. That's how he survives. He displaces across the map. Ysera's and Rejuve sort of ticks him up, and it's just really hard for them to reconnect at the same time as re-CCing. Because if they chase him, they're not going to get the follow-up CC. And if they want to get the follow-up CC, they can't exactly chase him. So it makes it difficult to actually finish him off.
Whew. It's going to be super interesting. I don't know. We have seen in the past players or teams bringing this Mage Boomkin Holy Pally to Ruins of Orderon, trying to as like a last resort almost. And, you know, we saw the cross CC coming out from this Mage Boomkin was just so strong. But this team, the initial comp choice right away tells me that this team had some preparation thought. So maybe this Ruins of Orderon pick is something that they want to set up. I'm excited to see what happens here in game number 2. Just waiting on the instance to time out so we can jump right back into these games. The double war game request has been sent out here. We should be getting into the game very shortly. Oh,
that is sounding great.
there it is. There's the cue. I'll see you guys in just one hot minute. It's Ruins of Orderon. All right, everybody, welcome to Ruins of Orderon. Both teams choosing to continue to play the same compositions. Scouts Honor playing that Holy Pally God comp. Now bringing the map to Ruins of Orderon. Oh, man, I'm excited. This is the semifinals, guys, of tournament number 19. And this is just single elimination. So the team that wins this series will continue to go on to the finals. The team that loses is eliminated entirely from the tournament. Tournament
Makes you
lives.
wonder
Go ahead, buddy.
how many games Merkmine, Samayam, and Versace have together, because Merkmines is a substitute
Correct.
for CMG. So when you're playing with people you're not that familiar with, finding a team that literally they're glued together, like you never see these guys apart usually, you've got to take that into consideration. But Samayam, starting with the Blizzard, pulling out Mageddon, they're just going to be trading Frostbolts early on, building up Icicles. A Fear landed onto Feloria, silence onto Asper, into the full Hodge. He's going to trinket that immediately and displaces to the room. He realizes how much danger he is in while Feloria is CC, but they're going to swap to Mageddon. He's going to have to trinket the Horrify. A bunch of damage coming onto him. He's going to line of sight as well here as Feloria is going to finally be leaving CC here shortly. He needs to stop the Cyclone, stop the potential Fear here in 8 seconds. The Frost Draw comes out of that, but he's not going to use any major cooldowns. Both teams trading off pretty evenly and not too many big cooldowns so far.
Yeah, the only thing we saw was Asper use this trinket as well as Mageddon. Everyone on Team Scouts Honor still has their cooldowns available and ready to go. These comps are very, very setup based, so they need to get the setup in order to get the damage out. And there's the full sheep on the Floria, Asper getting hodged up into a disarm, having to use that bar skin. And this is looking really, really difficult for Asper to actually survive. Floria caught into the fear. He's doing what he can to survive, but a lot of incoming damage to say about the light procs. They're trying to turn around though onto Merkmines. Versace getting full sheeped up, but it doesn't look like too much damage is actually going out onto him. He's doing a good job line of sighting and keeping that pressure on Asper. Floria getting out of that CC, deciding to trinket and use his Avenging Wrath. A lot of incoming healing will be on Asper. Surely he'll be fine for now, but this Team Scouts On are just slowly working through these cooldowns, and Versace still has everything left.
Yeah, Asper retreating to the room, Feloria trying to catch up with him as well. Versace popping his Avenging Wrath a little bit preemptively here to keep his team topped. Feloria now positioned in the room. They want to be able to line a sight, but that means that Merkmines is just going to pull back. Neither team wants to give the other team an advantage based on positioning. Asper would like to fight in the room, whereas Merkmines would like to fight on the tomb. So we're going to see just the Wizards trade off in the center of the map, building their Icicles, generating some Star Search procs, throwing a little bit of damage around. Fortunately, Versace's wings are basically going to go wasted and not accomplish too much. Now they have faded, so I believe that Mage is probably going to make a play here shortly. But they're going to make the first move. Deep freeze onto Floria. They land the poly. Asper barkskins immediately. Will it be enough is the question. Sitting through the full Hodge. He does have a Stay by the Light proc down to 50% right now, but there's a Solar Beam onto Versace. They lock him out. They're trying to make a turnaround. Can they do it? Stay by the Light's going to proc. Floria has to bubble, and it's looking grim, but at the same time, Merkmines into the Deep Freeze down to 50%. Both players trading up here and taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, so we're still not out of the woods yet. Floria will give him a big heal. Majorden getting spam sheeped up by Sam. Sam's doing a great job CCing Majorden, making sure they get the disarm on Asper at the same time they're trying to go for the deep sheep, so no one can really stop the deep sheep, and that's exactly what these mages need to do. They need to shut down the opposing mage before they push in for their CC, and I think whatever team does a better job of that is going to have a huge edge in this matchup. Asper getting deep sheep, or sorry, Floria getting deep sheep once again. Asper into the disarm. He might get hodged up if Versace gets out of the CC. He actually decides to trinket there offensively, ditch the hodge onto Asper. He just trinkets, does the dip, uses a shadow meld. He's going to hide behind the pillar, throw those healing touches on himself, but once again, just slowly working through those cooldowns. Asper no longer has a trinket, so the next disarm hodge on him is going to be very, very scary.
Yeah, but Celestial Alignment comes up in 7 seconds. The Solar Beam landing onto Versace. He Aura Masteries, but Asper dips low. Floria has to pop his own Avenging Wrath. Overlapped with the Barkskin here, and this is the cooldown overlap that Merkmines and Sam-I-Am are going to be looking to exploit. They're just going to pull back, but it looks like they're trying to set up on a Sam-I-Am, a clone onto Merkmines, Deep Freeze onto Versace. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to chain it, though. Versace pops the Avenging Wrath, tops Sam-I-Am off. He's going to be able to sit comfortably through that Polymorph. Sam-I-Am still has 1 block remaining. They're looking to make a turnaround onto Asper, into the Horrify, into the full Hodge. Floria now full feared out of that Polymorph. They need some damage, though. Devouring Plague, there it comes. Double Ice Nova. He displaces away. Denounce connects down to 28% HP. Desperately trying to stay alive. Sacrifice out from Floria with the Aura Mastery is going to prevent him from being counterspelled, but he still can't heal through the damage. Down to 30%. He can't survive here. Down to 5% somehow, and he's going to go down. And Scouts Honor tying this series up 1-1. This was a clear map decision based on their part, and it paid off big.
It did.
That map helped them tremendously. Asper just couldn't get away anywhere. He has nowhere to go. And I think them winning on Nagrand is going to be a huge part of them winning this series. If they get their map choices where Asper actually has a lot of room to kite, we'll have to see if Merkmine and Sam-I-Am can make something happen on a different map.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ben. They did get the first win on the Grand Arena, so that means moving forward, or potentially even at match point, We Love Fountain are going to have their map choice. And, Supa, you made an awesome point too as well. I did not realize how much Asper relied on that mobility to survive. Apparently it is so significant. As you can see, they got so many more defensive cooldowns because Asper just could not hide. And there it is. A tie series here in the semifinals between Scouts Honor and We Love Fountain. And, wow. Unbelievable. That was a really good game.
Absolutely.
So that being said, they probably want to give Asper some breathing room. They want to let him be able to run free, like a free little druid. Where will they bring the next map? What do you guys think? Any predictions? Probably like Tolvaron or something?
Yeah, probably Tolvaron.
Probably Tolvaron, yeah. And then if they end up winning on Tolvaron, I think that we'll see Merkmines and Sam-I-Am go on maybe Blaze Edge. Maybe Dalaran and Sewers, something smaller where he doesn't have too much go.
Blade's Edge could be good, because for Asper to run away, he has to jump down, and he's probably going to abandon Floria up top. So,
yeah.
I mean, it could backfire on him on that map, and he has no way to get back up when he jumps, so I could see Blade's Edge being okay.
I love seeing druids do that cheeky feral charge to their teammate back onto the bridge. That's always a fun thing to watch. But against double casters,
I don't think he can afford to run that, yeah.
Yeah, against double casters, I don't see that, yeah. Wouldn't really do too much, I think. But we'll see what happens. It looks like there is some technical difficulties on Team We Love Fountain. We'll be jumping into the next game here shortly, guys. We're just going to give them a few minutes to get everything ready. But so far, this is looking like an intense series. I'm really excited about that. But don't forget, guys, right after that, we have Method versus Woodwin. So that's also going to be a crazy explosive series. WLS versus either a Ret Hunter Shaman or a Feral Hunter Shaman. That's going to be so interesting to watch as well. And then after that, we have tournament finals. All of these series, all 3 of them will be best of 5, everybody. Best of 5. There it is. And then right after the finals, guys, I will be bombing someone, but right before that, I do have some announcements to make.
Looking for something specific.
Yeah. There it is.
Oh man.
So
What are your orders?
I think it's nice when we see, like, even though Floria, Majin, and Asbro often dominate this tournament, I like when a team gives them a run for their money. I think it's exciting.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, Beanslayer, if I'm not mistaken, this team, We Love Fountain, Majden, Floria, and Asper, they rarely even, like, give up rounds, let alone series, you know. The one time I remember them losing a round was actually against this same team. So they're back for vengeance, man. It looks like both of these teams are ready, however.
It's interesting how infamous they are now, like, just being as good as they are and winning so much, how much hate that actually develops. It's so weird. You would think, like,
yeah,
man, we win all the time, everyone must love us, and instead the opposite. It's like you're winning every time and everyone hates you for some reason. I don't know.
They don't want the title.
I don't think everyone hates them,
No,
but
they definitely
Twitch
earned
chat
a
will
fan in
confirm that or not.
Khaleesi. Khaleesi, wow, is a really big supporter of GCD TV, and he discovered these players to them, and they definitely earned a lot of fans. And I mean, looking at their play, they're very impressive. Like they have a lot of really good synergy, so it's something that I think should be taken into account.
I think it's something that's completely underrated in WoW too at this point. A lot of people don't think about it, but being able to play with the same players and like really evolve your strategies is a huge advantage. It's enormous. Like I think people are it's easy for people to jump ship and try to find new teammates, but if you really stick with like a core group of people and you guys have like some sort of success, you can really work together and like get way better as a team, and it becomes way scarier for people to play against you.
It's true, man. I've been saying that since day one. It's really cool. But here we go. We're going to jump into Tolvaron Arena, choice by We Love Fountain, and we'll see you guys in just one hot minute. Oh my goodness, this Twitch chat, guys. The energy is real. I see the energy, and I also saw that message about Chris Pratt. I appreciate that. That made me feel good. But here we go. This is game number 3 out of a best of 5. Both of these teams are now tied up, and We Love Fountain, they're bringing it to a map where Asper has the ability to kite around as free and as far as he wants. But will it matter against this setup on this Holy Pally God Comp? We're going to find out here in just a few seconds.
The frolicking Asper trying to run away from death. We have to
I
see
think it
how
absolutely will matter, yeah.
Ooh, early Solar Beam already getting Ore Mastered from Versace. Hodge and the Merc Mines deep freeze onto the Ore Mastery. Merc Mines is in trouble. He trinkets Saved by the Light procs. Avenging Wrath Execution Sense connects. Now the turnaround on Asper down to 30%. Saved by the Light is going to proc on his side. He's going to Barkskin as well, trying to retreat in that bear form, going for some Cyclones. Does Cyclone Sam IM's trinket as Floria does get full feared. Asper blinks away. Floria actually choosing to trinket here. Maybe going on a bit of an edge, getting a lot of cooldowns out there. The entire team trinketing. Versace escapes with his bubble and trinket intact.
Yeah, he still has all his cooldowns, like you're saying. That was Sam IM's block, too, so Sam IM down 1 block. Major and Asper might be able to punish that. We've seen this matchup before, and if the mages go too aggressive using their blocks offensively, they can get punished for it. Both teams have a lot of burst available, so even a class like Mage is not immortal in these matchups, and if they're using those blocks offensively, like I said, they can absolutely get swapped too.
Ooh, Mercmine's gripping Versace out of line of sight of the polymorph on that deep freeze. Good plays coming out from Mercmines, pulling back for the time being. Asper pushing up. He does have Barkskin in 2 seconds. Looks like they want to have something go on here. Beam lands onto Versace. Bash onto Mercmines. The Frozen Art coming out. The Wraths are going to connect into the Half Hodge. A little bit more damage. They might be able to push him over, but Versace leaves the CC, gets a big heal onto Mercmines. Now making the turnaround onto Asper. He Barkskins immediately, but will it be enough? Saved by the Light is available. It's going to proc. Valoria has to bubble as well, reading a lot of incoming damage. He's going to get the big heal off to top off Asper, but suddenly Scout's Honor have a huge lead.
They have a huge lead. Like you're saying, Asper has no trinket, no Barkskin, Floria, no trinket, no bubble. The next set up on him could be lethal if they chain it together properly and get the CC on Majordan, so he can't really peel. Meanwhile, Merkmine getting down really low. Versace having to use his wings as well as bubble. Merkmine getting offensively cloned there. Asper doing a great job shutting down those heals from Versace. And Versace finally able to get that execution sentence off, going to top him off. Asper, though, running away. He knows he's in big trouble. He knows they have no cooldowns. Getting disarmed, though. Versace can push in and get the Hodge out. GCD for Lori actually getting that dispel on Asper's disarm right away. Asper doing everything he can to line of sight Versace right now. He knows he goes in the Hodge, he's going to be in big trouble, so he's using that mobility very, very well, and actually shuts down that swap. And now he's going to have Barskin as well as Trinket up. GCD Floria also going to have his Trinket up, so for now, Asper going to be completely fine.
Yeah, that moment of vulnerability was completely kited out. Asper doing a great job realizing the situation, and now they have all of their trinkets available. We're kind of equalizing in terms of cooldowns from both sides. Majordan feeling a bit of pressure right now. He's going to actually get polyed instead. Deep freeze onto Floria, horrifying Asper. He's going to Barkskin immediately, realizing how much damage is going to be coming in here. Versace denouncing. It's 3-on-1, basically down to 40%. Floria gets feared on his wings. Luckily, he did get that execution sent off prior to it. Now the solar beam onto Versace. Asper trying to make a turnaround onto Merkmines. He did pre-Vampiric Embrace all of this damage. He's going to be getting a little bit of healing, but a huge Star Surge and Ice Nova combo comes in, forcing the dispersion still down to 16%. Versace is still getting CC'd. That Saved by the Light proc is going to be fading shortly, down to 26%. Versace trinkets into a repoly. Merkmines spectral guising away, trying to stay alive and doing a great job. He's going to survive that swap, but at what cost? Everyone had to trinket.
Yeah, Versace has no cooldowns left, Merkmine has no cooldowns left, and it looks like We Love Fountain has turned this game around, and now suddenly Scout's Honor is the one that's in a lot of trouble. The full clone onto Samiam. Merkmine's doing the line of sight game with Versace. They're trying to avoid this incoming Mage CC. Majordan pushing in for the CC actually gets silenced up there into a full Polymorph, so they're denying that Deep Sheep. Versace is in the Deep Freeze right now, but Samiam just spamming those Polymorphs on Majordan, which is exactly what he needs to do, and now Versace not in any danger of getting CC'd without that Deep Freeze up. Floria getting full feared up. Majordan looks like he's actually the target of choice, getting Hodge up down to 70%, having to block. That's the first ice block of Majordan. Like I said, in these matchups, even the mages can die.
Yeah, and he's on hypothermia. They're still pressuring through here, but Merkmines is aware of the situation, trying to pull back. Asper launching Star Surge after Star Surge, going for the Starfires to finish the job, but Versace says no. Pops the Avenging Wrath, execution sends back to full. Asper, realizing the kill is lost, is going to clone him up, blink away, looking to rotate the clone over onto Samiam for the time being. It's going to be half duration. They're just going to poly Versace. That's going to land full. Merkmines lands a full fear. He wants to go for the kill. Asper's going to Barkskin immediately. I wonder if they're going to hold on to their damage. Looks like they're just going to Ice Nova through it. Asper getting a cheeky re-stealth, kiting back to the pillar with that Shadow Meld, but they don't care. They're going to swap over to Majordan. The Devouring Plague is up. This could be a second block, down to 30%. Saved by the Light is going to proc Frostjaw onto Floria with no way out. He doesn't want to have to trinket that. Majordan down to 20%, in danger. Second block coming out, overlapped with the Avenging Wrath, and this is the cooldown overlap that Scout's Honor is looking for.
Yeah, now Majordan in a position where he has no block for another 2 minutes. Thankfully, Floria still has his Trinket and Bubble, so he's going to have those to save Majordan, but he's in the full Polymorph now. The Disarm onto Asper. It looks like Asper is actually getting swapped to right now. They want to force him to run away, and if he runs away, they're in a good position to target Majordan, but Asper looks like the target of choice for now. Floria getting feared up. Asper down to 14% HP. Save by the Light proc on him. Floria just non-stop CC incoming on him. The Ward of Glory coming out, but he doesn't have those healing cooldowns, so he's having a really hard time topping him out. The incoming damage is just too much. Floria bubbles really late. The burst comes up. Asper's going to survive for now, kiting away, but at what cost? Floria has used every cooldown, and now We Love Fountain has nothing.
Yeah, I wonder if they are aware that Samiam has no blocks right now, but Majordan has no blocks as well. Dipping low, Saved by the Light's going to proc down to 20%, trying to go for an invisibility even to kite away and stabilize. Floria trying to play catch-up right now. The counterspell not available. He should be able to, but the Deep Freeze lands onto Versace. Samiam has no blocks. He could be in trouble here. Versace instantly popping the Avenging Wrath and going to top him off, realizing how dire the situation is, making the turnaround on Asper, and I don't think he's making it out of this one alive. Into the Horrify on his trinket, down to 20%. Shadow Word Death Plus are surely going to connect. He blinks away, barely surviving. The execution sentence barely getting off, and he's going to have a Saved by the Light proc in 1 second, but the Frozen Orb comes out from Sam I Am. He gets bashed on his blink into the full clone. No way out of that. Floria gets silenced. Saved by the Light is going to proc. The Avenging Wrath comes up. They're going to be looking to make a turnaround, though. They should be able to recover. Full poly onto Versace. Sam I Am has nothing left. Power Word Shield comes out from Merkmines in desperation. Saved by the Light is going to proc. They rotate the full clone. Sam I Am in the center of the map is going down. And We Love Fountain is taking this game 2-1.
That was amazing, dude. That was so back and forth. Like so many times during that game, both teams are so vulnerable to kills, and they did an excellent job. I think they may have gone a little bit over aggressive there, trying to finish off Asper. They didn't have too much damage left, and I think if they played a little bit more conservative, might have been different because they had the last little bit of that game completely on their side.
Unbelievable, man. That game was so intense. And there we go. It is now 2-1. Scouts Honor really putting on the pressure here to the tournament, the previous tournament champions. But this is a best of 5, guys. This is a best of 5. Scouts Honor isn't out of it just yet. They may be able to still do something. And it is now their map choice. That is now their map choice. So they probably want to bring it to a map where Asper can't be a Live Lord.
Yeah.
That was actually crazy, where there was one point where Asper didn't have a trinket, Floria didn't have a trinket, Bubble, Wings, nothing. And Asper just ran away from the Hodge as much as he possibly could.
I think I really liked what they were doing before. When Asper got low, he got out of the chain, he displaced away. He's not going to die. Like, chasing him almost seems pointless. I think it's smarter for them to just keep the CC onto Floria, swap over onto Magen, and get his blocks. I mean, he was at a point where he had no blocks. He was very, very vulnerable. And, I mean, maybe they thought Asper would really die, but I think it's really hard to kill a Boomkin who's across the map. There's no more CC onto Floria. He does have a lot of self-healing, and there's no follow-up. I mean, he wasn't going to get stormed. He wasn't going to get hodged. And I think it's just hard to finish him off.
Yeah.
Floria didn't get that execution sentence off in between the CC chain when Azur ran away. He would have died. I think Sam I Am could have soloed him with that orb. That heal that he got off and the beacon. He got the beacon and the heal off in between the CC, so that kept him alive long enough, and then he was able to reconnect with the Wings, stabilize, and then push through on their aggressive push. It was really well played. That was an intense game. That was fun.
That was awesome, man. That's what I live for, dude. That's why GCD TV is a thing. All right, but we're going to jump into the 4th game of this best of 5 series here, and it is going to be on Tiger's Peak, a much smaller map. Not necessarily Ruins of Orderon by any means, but it is much smaller than Tolvaron Arena. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and send these cues out. We're going to jump into the games. Holy crow, we just got a bajillion-dollar donation. Thank you guys so much for the donations. I will shout you guys out a little bit later here, but I just want to jump right into these games, into these semi-final games. And the next map, of course, is Tiger's Peak. We'll be right back. All right, welcome to Tiger's Peak. Scouts Honor versus We Love Fountain, game number 4. Scouts Honor is only 1 loss away from being eliminated here at GCD TV number 19, though that last game was so very close, and on a map like Tiger's Peak, I don't see Asper getting away nearly as easily as he did on Tolvaron Arena.
I think there's still a lot of them to kite.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not it's not Ruins of Lordaeron level at all, really. But I think they were a little bit worried about Blade's Edge being too hard for them to keep up as well. So it's a safe pick on Tiger's Peak. And they had a close game in the last map, even on Asper's map choice. So we'll have to see what happens. Both teams trading off some wizardy battles in the center. Magen feeling a bit of pressure. I wonder if they're going to commit to him this time around. Asper looking to make his move. He wants to Solar Beam from stealth, but he has to wait for that freedom. Going for the clone. He lands the clone onto Sam I Am. The freedom is going to fade off Versace. Asper blinks in, lands the full root beam, but he's going to get horrified and clotheslined. Merkmine's going to trinket out of the Hodge to get the damage rolling. Asper Barkskins immediately realizing how much pressure is going to come in. The Fear and Frostjaw, a little bit overlap there onto Floria. Might be keeping Asper alive, but they do chain it into the full poly. Asper on the run in cat form, trying to of line of sight here, but they're going to swap over to Majin, like you were pointing out, and try and get the ice blocks down to 40%. He doesn't have a save by the light proc. That's going to be his first block, and this strategical change out from Scout's Honor is paying off big time.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. They force the game into a 2v3 situation. Sam taking some damage. Versace getting a huge heal onto him with his Avenging Wrath, but he is going into that full sheep. Merkmine's getting hodged up now. It looks like Merkmine actually got dispelled there from Versace, so a nice dispel by Versace. Denying that damage on the Merkmine while he was stunned up. Asper getting disarmed, though, at the moment. Still the target of choice, taking a lot of damage into the Hodge. He trinkets right away, displacing Stampeding Roar, trying to get away, but he's not running too far. He knows Majidin's going to be in a little bit of trouble. The Devouring Plague already on the Majidin. Floria getting feared up. He trinkets that right away, but that's Majidin's block as well. So Floria having to use his Trinket Avenging Wrath at the same time Majidin uses block. And Scout's Honor just has so much pressure, so much momentum, and Majidin has no cooldowns left.
Yeah, this is a huge cooldown lead. They just need to survive this one setup. The full clone onto Versace is going to bubble that immediately. He knows how far ahead his team is, and a full poly has been secured onto Feloria. The Horrify onto Major, and they're not even going to bother with Asper. They're just going to hodge him up, let him get any Cyclones. They need some more damage follow-up. Feloria getting full feared. Major's going to blink away, basically play the role of the Druid right now, realizing that he has no more blocks left. He can't afford to be in the center of the map. Asper helping out as much as he can, cloning out both TPS. Feloria is going to reconnect. They're going for the setup, full poly onto Versace, Merkmines into the bash, clone onto Samiam, 3v1 onto Merkmines, full solar beam onto Versace out of that as well. Saved by the Light is going to proc. He's trying to power word shield and stay alive. He's choosing to silence Asper, trying to deny that Cyclone out of the beam, and he's done a good job so far. Defensive polymers coming out, but the full clone is going to land. Luckily, Versace got that execution sentence up, so Merkmines can stay offensive onto Asper here. He's going to have to clone Merkmines just to stay alive. Valoria leaving that deep freeze, getting the huge heal out. The bark skin was used there. Samiam in a bit of trouble here, down to 50%. Versace into the deep freeze, down to 35%. He did sacrifice the poly, but it did end up breaking there, I believe, so he's going to be able to heal him up, getting half clone now as well. Majin getting spam poly. Samiam still, it needs to stabilize, get him back to full HP so he can push in and execute Asper, who has no bar skin for 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage, deciding to kite back. Versace actually getting gripped in by Merkmines there. They want to go offensive on Asper. Beautiful grip by Merkmines. Brought him over to Asper so he could get that Hodge off. Asper caught in that full Hodge. At the same time, Feloria in the full polymorph right now. He's got disarmed down to 23% HP. Feloria using that bubble. His last remaining cooldown trinket is up in 10 seconds, though. That'll be the saving grace to keep Asper up. So much damage incoming, though. Feloria using that Avenging Wrath. He should be able to stabilize his HA. Merkmine caught into that full Hodge, though. At the same time, Versace getting cloned up. Versace has no breaks. Merkmines really only has his Disperse to survive. He doesn't want to disperse too late, or it could be very hard for Versace to actually keep him topped off and keep him alive. Beautiful offensive clone coming out of Asper. Asper does have his trinket, and Barskin up. Celestial alignment coming up in 8 seconds. That's like huge, dude. What the? And you're going to need an instant replay on that. Merkmine's going down. It's going to be 3-1 for We Love Fountain, taking out Scout's Honor. I mean, that whole game, it seemed like Scout's Honor once again had so much momentum, but Floria, Majid, and Asper able to just turn it around very, very quickly.
That was crazy, man. I mean, Scout's Honor was just doing so well, I swear. It was like you were talking at them then when they swapped over to Majidin and forced both of those blocks. But that's very unfortunate. Merkmine still having that Disperse available to him. But, man, that's the real power of just the burst and the consistent pressure that Wheel of Fountain offers. And that was execution set and Saved by the Light occurred. He just got out of a Cyclone, and the damage just exploded him.
Yeah, he went from like 40% to dead in like 1 second.
Yeah.
He actually, yeah.
It's very difficult to predict something like that, but that's just one of those things that you have to take into account when facing this Mage Boomkin team. But Scout's Honor will be eliminated, but man, what a series these guys put on for us. Shout out to Beanslayer X, Merkmine, Samiam, and Versace. I hope to see these guys compete again because, man, that was an epic display of ability. And once again, We Love Fountain, they are going to the finals. This Mage Boomkin Holy Pally showing that regardless of I mean, they've been putting in the work. They're queuing non-stop, and it really shows here in the tournaments.
Absolutely.
Alright guys, we're going to be jumping into our next series very, very shortly here, guys. And I think you all are quite excited about this, I believe. Up next, would win Inviolable, I Love My Dog XO, Zonica, and Zev versus Method, Sea-Doo, Chanimals, and Smexen. That's going to happen next, guys. In just a few minutes, we're going to get these teams ready. But man, looking at these two teams, I want to get into these players' head, guys. What are both of these teams thinking right now? What do you think, Supatees?
I think Jungle Cleave has a pretty good shot against WLS. I would imagine the only reason they wouldn't play Jungle is if I Love My Dog isn't here, which is actually a pretty common occurrence for teams. Ret Hunter Shaman could do well. I just feel like it would have a hard time, especially against like really stable players like Sea-Doo, Channel, and Smexen. So I would imagine they're going to go with Jungle Cleave.
Yeah, I think they're going to be going with Jungle Cleave as well. But man, it's going to be intense. I don't see these series going too late into the game, but at the same time, both of these teams are quite good at surviving. All right, before we jump into that series and talk a bit more about that series, I do want to take a moment to shout out some of the people that have been sending donations our way to keep this thing going. GCD TV, all the donations go directly towards future tournament prize pools. And I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us. We got a $3 donation from Ferncole. He did not leave a note, but he did donate $3. Thank you so much, man, for that donation. And we also got a $20 donation from Business. And there was no note as well. Thank you so much, Business. I really appreciate it. And we did get a $5 donation from Casca. He says, this tournament is so good, I didn't even want... I'm not reading the rest of that. Thank you so much, Casca, for that $5 donation, man. I really do appreciate it. And all of these dollars are going directly towards future tournament prize pools. And then, of course, Metaphor Underbog, again, with a $100 donation, says, keep it up, guys. Oh, and good luck, Chuck. Thank you, Metaphor Underbog, man. I really do appreciate it. We are $348 out of our $500 goal. Thank you guys so much for all the support and help to make this whole tournament experience possible. We will continue doing this as long as we possibly can, and